Hook it and cook it. From the catch to the kitchen, it's your front row seat to learn mouthwatering new ways to fix seafood. It's time for Hook It and Cook It.
Welcome to Hook It and Cook It. I'm your host, Frank Willem. Today you're in for a treat. We have Chef Derek Flores from the Island View Casino in Gulfport, Mississippi. He's going to show us how to make crab stuffed flounder. But before we cook it, we got to hook it, or gig it, or at least learn more about flatfish. Let's get to it.
My name is Sam Clardy. I'm the Associate Director at the Marine Education Center. We're part of the University of Southern Mississippi, and we're standing here today on the campus of the Gulf Coast Research Lab in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. So we were trying to answer some basic life history questions of southern flounder, which is a very popular sport fish here along the Mississippi Gulf Coast. What happens is from about March through September, they're in our estuaries, they're in our bays, they're up our tidal rivers, so they're very accessible to fishermen. Flounder are demersal fish, meaning they sit right on the bottom. They stand up and their eyes are exposed, so they're waiting on something to come by them to eat. So they're very, very quick, and they can attack a fish or a shrimp in a blink of an eye. So they wait till it gets right in front of them and they eat them aggressively, and then most of the times they'll settle and sand right back up. So if you're out there fishing and you feel a tap on your jig and then it just feels heavy after that, oftentimes you'll find out that it's a flounder that's grabbed your bait and settled back down. And so you always want to set the hook in those situations.
Well, now that we know a lot more about flounder, it's time to learn how to cook them.
All right, so here's our fish. What we could do is cut this guy up, put him in a pot with a little bit of wine, a little mirepoix, some carrot, onion, celery, and we could make our shrimp stock, or our fish stock that we're going to be using in the recipe later.
Welcome back to Hook It and Cook It. We're at the Culinary Arts School at Jefferson Davis Community College with Chef Derek Flores, and now it's time to fillet our flounder. Well, Derek, it looks a lot like we have a flounder here. Want to tell us what you got planned?
Yeah, I've got a southern flounder here. We're going to do a crab stuffed flounder roulade, and it's an item that we serve on the buffet at Island View.
Great, great. And you're going to clean it for us now.
Sure, I'm going to fillet it.
Okay.
There's a couple different ways to do it. I'm going to show you one way. Left-handed, let me turn around. We're going to make a little cut up here, behind the head, bring it around. One thing I like to do is kind of go ahead and cut this skin right along the edge. It makes it easier in a minute.
Okay. You've done this before?
Once or twice.
In fact, I think you were telling me that you've, in the past, as a boy, had caught these on a regular basis, didn't you?
Yeah, when I was a child, I lived in Baton Rouge, but my grandparents lived here in South Mississippi, so I would summer here, and my grandfather and I would go fishing, my cousins, and some evenings we had an old lantern, and we would go gigging out there in Waveland in the lakeshore area.
Well, I'll tell you what, that is close. There's not much leftover flesh there, I can tell you that.
Oh, well, I worked for a lot of German chefs early in my career, so we don't waste much. All right, so this is the top side of the flounder, and you'll notice when I do the other side, there's a big difference in the fillets. These are the really nice, they're really thick, and look at the color, how they kind of have that bluish green.
Yep.
This side is going to be really, it's going to be darker, a little bit of a reddish tint, and much, not really darker, I guess, more of a white color. Very thin, though.
Now you notice there's no eye on this side. They were both on the other side, right?
Yeah, they are both on the other side, but when they're born and they're very small, when they get to be about 1 inch, the eye starts to migrate over. And this is how they live on the bottom, dark, and this is their camouflage. So when they're up in the water.
That's amazing how that eye moves, huh?
It's something.
So your grandfather is kind of your inspiration to some extent then?
A little bit. When I was a child, my parents, see the color difference between the two fillets?
Oh yeah, dramatic.
It's very, very obvious. When I was a kid, my parents had a friend that had a little cooking store in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where I was living, and they would take cooking classes and drink wine and have adult fun, but they also had kids cooking classes. So we'd go make pizza and cookies and things like that. And my mother likes to tell people about my recipe for bologna pizza.
Bologna.
Yeah, she still got it. I don't think I ever made it, but I wrote it. An aspiring cookbook writer as a child.
I think you really ought to try that out.
Yeah. All right, so here's our fish. What we could do is cut this guy up, put him in a pot with a little bit of wine, a little mirepoix, some carrot, onion, celery, a little thyme, bay leaf, a couple peppercorns, and we could make our shrimp stock or our fish stock that we're going to be using in the recipe later.
Oh,
Of course,
okay.
we're not going to do
All
that
right.
today because I've already made it. but-
Right, sure.
So there's always a use for these guys. So
Now, is there a dramatic difference in the flavor between the two fillets?
not particularly.
It's
no.
just the color,
Just
okay.
the color. All right, so there's our flounder.
And now we have our flounder fillets. What we need now is the crab stuffing. And that's exactly what we're going to do when we get back.
Now,
Just get a little flavor.
a little flavor. We're going to add a little bit of our egg. That's going to help bind it up.
Okay.
A couple of pinches of parsley.
All right.
A little salt.
And those are the precise measurements, right?
Very precise measurements.
Let's get back to the kitchen with Chef Derek for tips on making the crab stuffing to go in our flounder fillets. Well, we got the flounder already, and I guess the next step is the dressing?
Yep, we're going to make our crab stuffing. So we've already got our pot here. We got a little bit of butter in it.
Is that just clarified butter or just regular butter?
The clarified butter.
Okay, all right.
That's what we have around the kitchen. You could
Okay.
use regular butter at home.
Okay.
We clarify it because if you ever cook regular butter at home and notice it starts to foam and brown,
Oh, yeah.
the three components to butter, there's the butter fat,
Mm-hmm.
there's water, and there are milk solids. And the milk solids are what burn.
So when you
we
clarify it, you take those out.
want to take
Okay,
those
I see.
components out, and that way you still get the butter flavor, but it's all fat. It has a higher smoke point. You don't get that kind of that brown, that off flavor.
Oh, okay.
So, all right, so we got the pot going here to make our stuffing. Let's unwrap this last ingredient here that didn't get unwrapped.
That's no problem. And the crab meat now, does that have to be lump meat, claw meat? Does
It
it
could be
matter?
claw meat, lump meat. For a
Whatever,
stuffing, it wouldn't make sense to pay a whole lot of money for jumbo lump because it's going to be in the stuffing. You know,
you
it's
can't
not the
tell,
showcase, right? Claw meat's great. It's inexpensive and it's a really lovely, sweet taste. All right, so we've got our butter a little warm. We're going to go ahead and throw our vegetables in. We've got celery, some onion, a little green bell pepper. And we're going to go ahead and add our garlic at this point. And all these measurements will be on the recipe. Where will we find the recipe?
You'll find it on our website and
There
our
you go,
Facebook
on
page.
the website and the Facebook page. Okay, so we're gonna let this sweat for a little bit. We don't really want it to brown, we just want it to cook down a little bit.
Now you, I think, are familiar with Mickey, aren't you?
Yes, he was my boss. Mickey Mouse was my boss for three and a half years. When I graduated high school, I was going to go into the service and use the GI Bill to try to go to the Culinary Institute in New York. My mom had other ideas. She didn't really want me to go into the service, so she saw an ad in the paper, and the New Orleans paper said there was Disney was hiring, they're opening a new hotel, and they were looking in little print, culinary apprenticeship. So we went over, I got hired on the spot and did 3 years with Disney, and they paid for my education. Every 3 months, working for the same company, they moved us around to different kitchens.
So you got a lot of experience.
A lot of
huh?
experience with one name, so I didn't have to go through all the, finding new jobs and stuff. They did it for me.
So your mom weighed getting shot at for 3 years or being with Mickey Mouse for 3 years and decided that was the way to
Right.
go, huh?
She looked at it this way. She said, if you don't like the military, you can't leave. But if you don't like cooking and you don't like going to school, you can leave Disney.
Right, that's
and it
true.
was probably one of the best decisions she ever made for me.
But you've had a lot of experience since then. You had your own Asian restaurant, right?
I did. I worked for Disney. I worked for Sheridan. I moved back here briefly, worked for a guy named Armand. He had a restaurant in Wayland called Armand's, which is no
familiar.
longer there, but I learned a lot working for him. Had an opportunity to open my own restaurant, and a couple of buddies of mine and myself, we opened an Asian fusion restaurant in Santa Rosa Beach, Florida.
Oh, yeah.
And it's still open, but I don't have anything to do with it anymore.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it ran its course for me. I was very happy while I was there, but when my business partner offered to buy me out, it was one of the happiest days of my life. So here we are today, stuffing
Great.
flounder.
Great.
All right, so we've got our vegetables. They've cooked down just a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little splash of white wine. We're going to let that get down. It's going to reduce to almost dry, or French au sec. Learned a lot of French in school.
And it's okay to put the garlic in at that stage? It won't
Sure.
get-
Yeah,
okay.
because we're not actually browning the vegetables. We're just
Okay,
cooking them.
okay, I see. All right.
So they'll still cook enough where it's not going to taste like raw garlic, but
Okay.
you're going to know it's there. The wine is going to add a lot of flavor. I mean, I can.
Oh,
know if
yeah,
you can
yeah, I can
smell
definitely
It's
smell it, absolutely.
very, very nice.
Now, this is a dish that you have at the buffet, is that
It
correct?
is. It's something we do in the buffet. It's a popular item. We serve it at night, and it's our stuffed flounder with a hollandaise sauce. We go through a lot of it, about 300 a night.
I believe that.
Yeah, it's big numbers at the buffet. All right, so we can see how we've almost got all the moisture gone. Now we'll go ahead and kill the flame, and we're going to start adding the rest of our ingredients.
Okay.
All right, we've got some breadcrumbs. This is leftover garlic bread.
Oh, you just put it in a
put it in the food processor and saved a couple bucks with that. So we'll add the.
And it's fresh parsley, or is that
Fresh parsley. Had one of the prep cooks prep that up for me.
okay?
All right, we're going to add just a little bit of the stock.
And that's fish stock or shrimp stock?
It's going to be fish stock, shrimp stock, crab stock, chicken stock even, you know.
Just give a little flavor.
A little flavor. We're going to add a little bit of our egg. That's going to help bind it up.
Okay.
A couple pinches of parsley.
All right.
A little salt.
And those are the precise measurements, right?
Very precise measurements. A little pepper.
Okay.
All right, so, what would crab stuffing be without the crab, right?
Well, I was wondering. I
Yeah.
thought maybe you're going to leave that for me.
No, we're going to go ahead and add the crab. If you didn't have crab or didn't want to eat crab, allergic to crab, you could do shrimp, you could do crawfish. All right, so that's ready. This could be made ahead of time too. If you wanted to do the stuffing and maybe stand around as a family or a couple people and have a little party, drinking wine or beer and rolling up your flounder.
And just do that at the last minute and pop it in the oven, huh?
All right, so we have our flounder fillet.
Okay.
Actually, we're going to do it skin side up. We're going to get a little bit of the stuffing. Set it right in the middle there. Then we're going to take this, roll it over,
Twice, okay.
and then just set it right there. When that bakes in the oven, that egg, it's going to firm up and it's not going to all come running out the side.
Oh, okay.
So, you want to try one of those?
Yeah, I'll try one of those.
All right.
Sure. All right. So, a little bit more than that? you
Oh,
think?
that'll work for that size fillet.
Okay, all righty. Fold it up. All right. Oops.
I'm going to take a little.
All right.
All right. If you have some of these smaller fillets from the white side of the fish that aren't quite as big as the other side, you can actually take two of them.
Okay, rather than make one or two little small ones.
Little small
right.
ones if you're trying to be consistent in your portion size. There we go. I kind of did that one backwards, but you know what? It's going to taste great anyway. All right, you want to each do one more, and then we'll
Sure.
get that going in the oven.
Okay. You can go ahead and put it on mine if you want there.
Sure.
All right. Boy, this looks great, man. And now, you bake these at about what temperature?
350, maybe 10 to 12 minutes, depending on the thickness of your fillets. You don't want to overcook it like anything. You can have the freshest fish in the world, and if you overcook it, it's going to taste fishy.
Dries out,
Yeah,
right.
it's not going to be that great. But we're about ready there. Pop those guys in the oven, all right?
Okay,
What
let's
we're
stick
gonna
them
do
in
is
there.
Put a little pat of butter on top.
And so that just kind of melts down and keeps it moist.
Yeah, keeps it moist, adds some flavor. Fat is flavor, and that's what butter is. All right, and then we're going to take a little spritz of lemon.
Oh, okay.
All right, so these guys are
Ready to go.
ready for the oven.
All right. Our crab stuffed flounder fillets are baking in the oven, and now it's time to make our hollandaise sauce. When we return, we'll get that going, and then it's eating time.
And as we're whisking, you'll be able to see little trails behind them.
Oh,
Not
okay.
quite there yet, but we're almost.
You've done this before.
Once or twice.
Time to make the hollandaise sauce for our crab stuffed flounder, and then we'll put a fork in it. While the fish is cooking, I guess we're gonna do what now?
Oh, we're going to make the hollandaise sauce.
All right.
All right, hollandaise is an emulsion. We're going to use some egg yolk, a little wine, a little lemon, some clarified butter. At home, you wouldn't have to clarify the butter, but I had it, so that's what we're going to do. So the
Okay.
first thing we're going to start off with is 2 or 3 egg yolks. Let's go with the third one.
Okay.
All right, we're going to go back to our trusty lemon here.
Now
a little
these-
bit of acid.
Free range chicken eggs.
Yeah, no hormones, free range chicken
Okay.
eggs.
All right. Just checking. Just checking.
So I was told. A little bit of white wine because everything's better with wine.
All right.
All right, so we're going to take these egg yolks and we're going to put them over a double boiler.
Okay.
Okay? We're going to whisk them. We're going to keep them moving. We want to cook these egg yolks to about 144 degrees. I don't expect you to use a thermometer. I'm going to use my years of experience.
Okay.
And the thing is, we don't want to scramble the eggs.
You want to stop just short of that.
Just short of that. So since I'm using so few eggs, this is going to happen really quick over the steam.
Now, how do you tell when they're to the right point?
They're going to lighten up in color a little bit, and as we're whisking, you'll be able to see little trails behind them. Not quite there yet, but we're almost.
You've done this before?
Once or twice. All right, what we're making today is just a basic hollandaise. It's going to have a light lemon flavor. We're going to get a little bit of the butter, a little bit of the egg.
Okay.
All right, see how we're getting the lines, little trails? All right, so now, at work, I would just put this on a wet towel and do it myself. And since you're here, I'm going to have you help me by drizzling the oil.
Okay.
Each egg yolk will take about 2 ounces of oil.
Is that about the right speed?
That's about the right speed. Looks good.
I'm a good drizzler. Now, if you pour it too fast, you said what happens?
You'll break the emulsion. What we're doing is a physical and a chemical change here. The eggs have lecithin in them, and that helps disperse the oil and keep it dispersed. The acid in the lemons helps a little bit too in the wine. All right, that last little bit.
All right.
All right, now, you're probably not going to be very good at making hollandaise if you watch this couple of minutes of me doing this. If you're interested in doing this at home, there are resources on the internet, plenty of videos, lots of stuff out there. But if you really want to eat it, the best place to eat it is at the Island View Buffet. This is an item that we have on the menu at the Island View Buffet. All right, so let's take a little shot of pepper, a touch of salt. Some folks like to put cayenne in it. Classically, I think it calls for that, but you know, I am from Louisiana, so.
Yeah. Just about what, 5 drops? Something like that? Yeah, just a little
3 to 5. Just a little bit. It's going to give it that little bit of heat. It's got another acid component that's added to it. All right. Let's taste.
All right.
Pretty good.
Excellent, yeah.
Pretty good. Really taste that lemon in there,
You
huh?
sure can. You sure can. It's very good.
All right, so we're about ready to plate.
Well, the dish is all plated. Tell us about what we have here.
All right, so we have the Island View Buffet's crab stuffed flounder roulade, topped with hollandaise sauce.
And what's the deal with these little garnishes? Are usually I'm accustomed to seeing like me a piece of lemon or parsley. What is this?
We typically garnish it with parsley at the buffet. I wanted a rectangular plate today, so I was in the steakhouse and I thought, let me see what they've got in their cooler. So I raided some of the microgreens and a nice little orchid there. So you wouldn't normally find that at the buffet, but you know.
Looks nice.
Looks nice.
But you're telling me we have stolen garnishes? Is that what you're saying?
Reallocated. Reallocated.
All right. So now, if we were doing this at home, you know, what instead of the buffet, what size would you recommend that be prepared with this?
Rice pilaf would go really well with this. You know, to be honest with you, French fries would probably go really well with it. You know, whatever you like. But I like a rice pilaf. For a vegetable, you could do. If you were looking for something like a steamed broccoli, something that's got a little crunch to it, or possibly asparagus, because hollandaise pairs really well with steamed asparagus.
And what about a beverage? If you were, would you recommend a certain kind of wine and beer?
You could do a Chardonnay, maybe a Pinot Blanc with this, something that's kind of light. And then for beers, we've got a couple of great local breweries. We've got Chandelier Brewing out of Gulfport, and they do a Beach Blonde, which would be an excellent pairing with that.
Yeah, I've had that.
And if you like a beer with a little bit of a hoppy, bitter taste, the Elysian Magnolia Hospitality, I think it would be fantastic with this dish.
Well, I'm ready to start. I can't wait any longer.
I'm ready for something to eat
let's both give a try here.
All right. Be sure to get some microgreens in there. As good as I knew it would be. Excellent. One more bite here.
That is they're very good.
Very good.
Really mild, but the hollandaise gives it a little flair, you know, and it's very good.
Get the
excellent
lemon,
job.
You can taste the crab. I'm very happy with this.
I can definitely taste the lemon more this time.
Good, good. I'm glad you can. And once again, you can find this at the Island View Buffet.
Great, well, I'll definitely have to do that.
Yeah, come on by and see us. Good,
This is great stuff.
I look forward to having you all.
We learned how to make crab stuffed flounder, and I want to thank Chef Derek Flores from the Island View Casino for showing us how it's done. And also a thanks goes out to Davis Community College for their use of the Culinary Arts Kitchen. Remember, you can find the recipe on our Facebook or webpage, hookitandcookit.biz. Join us next time for another delicious episode of Hook It and Cook It.